So just one more to add, and we'll say dog breed dot frame is equal to a CG rect. Let's use that initializer with the CG floats again. And this time we get a little bit more of a break because we already know exactly where our label is. And in fact, let me just comment this out for just a moment, and I'll show you if we go up to our dog name and give it a border just where our label border is. Alright, let's give that maybe 0. Let's give it 1. And if I build and run this, you'll see exactly where the border of our first label is. Alright, so like I said, we get a little bit of a break adding our second label because we already know the x dimension of this label, or the x starting point, the y starting point. And so for our x, we can sort of just copy that by saying dog name dot frame dot origin dot x. So we're setting the x value of our dog breed to the same x value of our name label there. The y, we want to start it at dog name dot frame dot max y. And what that means is at the very beginning of our label, at its height in the y-axis, is going to start right at the very end, the max y of this label. So it should start right there. Its width, just to keep things consistent, will be the same as a dog name dot frame dot width. And we're going to say, actually, because this one's 30, I might just do this one as 20. And we will set the label to look a little bit different. So label.text color is going to be equal to a UI color dot light gray, and we'll say the label.font is going to be equal to a UI font with this initializer where all we have to say is the name of the font, which I'll just keep it Helvetica. And the size, I might say, is something like 10, which will make it just a little bit smaller than the dog's name. Alright, so we know where it is. We'll say that the dog breed dot text will be equal to our dog dot dog breed, just like that. Self dot content view dot frame dot add subview dog breed. Alright, let's build and run that to see how it looks. Alright, it looks good. I think that might be a little bit too small for the dog breed name, and I'm just going to take off this border here. So we can go up and just adjust this. I'm going to try 12, and I'm just going to comment out this border line there. Alright, so that looks pretty good. One thing you might not like is that in most apps, these profile pictures, these circles, don't actually touch like they do here. All we have to do to fix that is just change the dimensions a little bit, change our frame of our profile pic, and we'll make it a little bit smaller so that there's a gap in the spacing between these. To do that, let's go back to our dog profile. Its width, we actually want to set it maybe as the height divided by 2. Give ourselves a lot more room, and its height will be the same thing, divided by 2. And yes, that'll make our profile pic a little bit smaller, a smaller circle, but since the y value is still set at 0, it means that our profile pic is going to be a smaller circle, but it's going to still start right up against this top border, and that might not look correct. So what I'm going to do is, because the height is half of the table view cells content view, and we want it to start right at dead center, I'm going to say that the starting point for the y value is going to be 1/4 of the cell, and that should set it directly in the middle. So we'll say self.contentView.frame divided by 4, and that should send it right where we want it. And whoops, forgot to say self.contentView.frame.height divided by 4. So we'll build and run that and see how it looks. Alright, so I think that looks just a little bit better. Lastly, I'm going to show you something that I see in a lot of apps, and I think it looks really professional and makes your app look just that much better. And it's going to be a little colored tab we're going to add to the end, and we're going to make it change based on which cell is selected. So to add that tab, I'm going to add it right above our dog's profile picture in our code, and just say var colored tab is going to be a type UI view, and let that be equal to a view equal to UI view. Whoops. Let view be equal to UI view. Instantiate that. Return that view like so. And let's just say that the view dot background color is going to be equal to a UI color dot black. All right. Then let's go down, and I want it to be just a little bar on the left side here. And so we'll add it in our code right above our dog's profile. So we'll say that the colored tab dot frame is going to be equal to a CG rect. All right, and this one we do want it to start right up against the border, so we're going to give it 0. It's Y. I think it would be cool if we did maybe a border of 15 at the top there. Its width we'll do 10, and its height, we want it to be the height of this cell here, but minus 15 on top here and minus 15 on bottom, so minus 15 in total. So we self dot frame, self dot content view dot frame dot height, minus the 15 on top, minus the 15 on bottom. All right, then we'll say self dot content view dot add subview color tab. Now we could build and run this, but before we do that, I want to make sure that the dog's profile view is not right up against it. So I'm going to give it an X value to be just after the color tab. Dot frame dot max X and say plus 5 there. So let's build and run that and see if we get our tab on the left side. Alright, so there's our tab. I actually think it might be a little bit too thick, so I'm going to change that to 5. Alright, change it to 5. I think that looks pretty good. It's just noticeable enough that you can tell it's meant to be in the design, but I'll show you how we can actually change the color of the tab based on when we're clicking, and so that it doesn't just disappear like this. Alright, to do that, first we need to get rid of this gray that kind of covers everything up here. And so if we go back to our initializer, we can say self dot selection style is going to be equal to dot none. So this way nothing will happen when we touch it. All right, and we're going to decide on our own what should happen when we tap it. So you can go down just below layout subviews and use a function called set selected, which comes with the UI table view inheritance here. And we'll just do a quick if statement where we say if selected, then we'll do something there, else, which means if it's not selected, we'll set what we want to do. So if it is selected, then we're going to say the colored tab dot background color is going to be equal to a UI color, and let's just say dot green. All right, and if it's not selected, then the colored tab dot background color should be equal to a UI color dot black. All right, so let's build and run that. All right, so you can see these are all black here because they're not selected, and just as I select them, they turn green, and obviously they turn off when I'm deselecting them. All right, and I believe this little tab here are little things you can do like that. Just the design of it can change your app from being something that is relatively well designed to something that is professionally designed. If you liked this and found it helpful, make sure you subscribe and use this channel as a resource for all of your apps. Also, I see every comment that's on the channel, and so I'll be answering your guys' questions if you have any, or if there's any more tutorials you'd like to see, I'd be happy to do them for you. That's all for this series, but always keep learning and keep coding line by line.